So there are three ways of expressing ratios. One is like like this, x to y. Okay, literally like 5, 2, the word 2, and so on. X to y like this, or like a fraction, x over y. That would be the same thing. This is the one that we're going to use most often because when you write it like a fraction, it just becomes so much easier to work with. Now, if you take two ratios that are equivalent and you set them equal to each other, that becomes a proportion. So look at this one. If you have a ratio here, 4 to 2, that's the same as 2 to 1. I can set them equal to each other and it becomes a proportion. This one here, 0.3 to 0.6, is the same as 0.4 to 0.8, right? One is double the other. They're equivalent ratios. I can set them equal to each other and create a proportion. Now, if you have a proportion, what we can do is we can cross multiply. So we do A times D, right, is equal to this other diagonal, B times C. All right? So let's go ahead and solve these like that. So here we go. This side here is going to have R times 40. I call that 40R equal to, this proportion is 8 times 25. 4 times 25 is 100. Another 4 times 25 is 100. Together, that's 200. Now, I need to solve for R. So back to the previous lessons. Divide by 40, divide by 40. R is 5. Okay? All right. So here, let's do the same thing here. This way, the proportion is 3.2 n. This way, the proportion is 4 times 2.6. So let's do that. 2.6 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 2 is 8. So 10.4, right? It'll be a 10 and then you have 0.4. So this is equal to 10.4. Then divide by 3.2. Divide by 3.2. And again, you can do long division there. And you get that n is 3.25. So we're going to try to do it without because we want to get our number skills up. Okay, so here's this next one. This way, I'm going to get 4 times 3, 12. Equal to this direction. Now I have x plus 1 times 2. So here I do 2 in parentheses x plus 1. And here, the most important thing I put are the parentheses. Because without that, you're already on the wrong footing and then it'll never come out right. Okay? So now what we want to do is we want to distribute this. Okay? And then go ahead and solve this. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Go. So 12 equals 2x plus 2. 10, I subtract 2, right? Draw the line each time and write it out. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals 5. Okay. Here. Okay, here we go. Cross multiply. This way, I get 2 times 2 minus x equal to 3. So I distribute 4 minus 2x is equal to 3. What do I do? Minus 4 minus 4. negative 2x equals negative 1. Now look, guys, divide by negative 2. I don't know why this is here all of a sudden. I don't want this here. And then what happens to x? X equals, okay, first of all, is it going to be positive or negative? Positive 1 over 2. Okay, just as you read it. Okay, 1 over 2. It's okay. Okay, so next. Okay, so here we go. Let's use proportions to solve some problems. Okay. So the Chicago Cubs have won 5 out of their first 8 games in a season, right? 5 out of their 8 games in a season. If they continue at the same pace, how many games would you expect them to win in a 162 game season? Well, so we have to do it like mathematically. First, I have to write a proportion. So this is going to be 5 to 8. Now, here's what's important. You have to keep track of which one you put on top, which one you put on the bottom. If you want, make a little, like a little key for yourself. It's games. No, sorry. They're all games. It's wins out of total, right? So now this equals to another proportion. Now the other situation is how many games? That's X, because I don't know that. But does that go in the top or in the bottom? How many games would you expect them to win? That goes on top. 162, that's the total. It goes on the bottom. This is the more, I would say, the more important part. Because even if you know how to solve proportions perfectly well, if you get this wrong, then you can solve it right, but you'll still get the wrong answer, right? So here, this way is 8x. This way, 5 times 162, right? You would just do that on your scratch paper. You get 810. Okay, see how I did that? I didn't do it mentally. I had already done it, okay? And then divide by 8, divide by 8. What does that give me? It's, 101.25. Did you just do that in your head or did you do it on paper? Yeah. Oh, okay. It's 101.25. Okay, when you get a decimal, round mathematically correctly. So if you were to round this to the nearest whole number, how many games would it be? 101 or 102? 101. So it's about 101 games. Don't just round up because no matter what, you're estimating. Okay? Yes. Because you can't, right? Because you have to, you have to say a number. Okay. Oh, if you just do like 810, right? 8 goes into 8 one time. Well, that's the thing is they won't. Like mathematically, if this was a random proportion, it would be 101.25, but in real life, that translates to 100. Okay. Scale factor. You guys know what a scale factor is, right? Because like if you have a map, it's not going to be the size of the world, right? So everything is scaled down. So the scale factor on a map is 1 inch is 200 miles. If two cities are 1 5/8 inches apart on a map, how many miles separate are the two cities? So take a look. I'm going to have a proportion. I'm going to put 1 inch to 200 miles. So now I have, if two cities are 1 5/8 inches apart, first of all, I don't like the mixed number. I'm going to change it to improper fraction. What would that be as an improper fraction? 13 over 8. Now, would that 13 over 8 go on top or the bottom? Who says top? Raise your hand. Who says bottom? Raise your hand. Okay, some of you didn't vote. I saw that. Some of you didn't vote. So let's see. This is inches and 200 miles. Do you see that? 1 inch. 1 inch. 200 miles. 200 miles. So here, this one is 13 over 8. This symbol means inch, right? That's inch. And because I put inch on top here, I have to put it on top here. And then x, right? How many miles separate? That's x. It goes on the bottom. Yeah. So it's 1 5/8, right? 8 times 1 is 8 plus 5, 13. Yeah. Okay, now let's cross multiply on the bottom because it's how many miles? Yes. So yeah, this is the main fraction. So 13 over 8 goes on top, the other one goes on the bottom. So x equals 200 times 13 over 8. Okay, now let's see how we can do this. This is over 1. Now I'm going to multiply 200 times 13 over 8. Okay? So, how do I do this? Okay, so look, you remember anything in the numerator can reduce with anything in the denominator. So the 200 and the 8, I can divide this one by 2, I get 100. Divide this one by 2, I get a 4. And you know what? Now it's getting messy. Let me just rewrite it. X equals 100 over 1 times 13 over 4. Okay, what can I divide both of these by? 4. I divide this by 4, I get 25. I divide this by 4, I get a 1. So now I have 25 times 13, and that's going to be 325 miles. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's take a look at the next one. A minivan requires 5 gallons of gasoline to travel 120 miles. Do you see how I'm highlighting the gasoline and the miles, right? They're separate quantities. So now, look at this one. How much gasoline will be required for a 280-mile trip? So do you see that? Amount of gas, miles, miles. You have to organize in a way that you're going to have your proportions like easy to set up. So here, 5 gallons of gasoline for 120 miles. That's one scenario. Here I have how much gasoline. So what do I put on top instead? X over 280 miles. Okay. So now I'm going to multiply this way. 120x is equal to 5 times 280, right? And you can do that. You get 1,400. I know you guys know how to do that. All right? So then, okay, so now what do? divide by 120, divide by 120. So now you're on a test, right? You're doing this on a test. What are you going to do? Okay, let's go over here. X is 1400 over 120. Okay? All right. Can we divide top and bottom by 10? Yeah? What does that give you? 140 and 12. Okay, can I divide top and bottom by what? 2? What does that give me? 70 over 6. And now, can I divide that like this? Right? 6 goes into 7 once. Right? 6 goes into 10 how many times? Once. 4, I put a point. 0 comes down 6 times. Okay? So it says to round to the nearest hundredth place. So that's 36. I'm going to do it again. 4 comes down. 0 comes down. Okay? Okay, now I need to go to the hundredth place. Do I need to do this one more time to know how to round? Yes.
Couldn't you do 70 divided by 2?
Huh?
70 divided by 2.
Oh, you could have done it again, yeah. But, I mean, you could have also done it from the beginning. It's going to be a repeating number. So now, how am I going to round this to the hundredth place? Hundredth place. That's the hundredth place. 11, so this is the hundredth place. You need 2 decimals. 11.6. Okay, and then this one, do I add 1 to it or no? Yes. Okay, this one. What is the value of the missing number to make the following proportion true? Okay, so here I have a proportion, but not very mathy because I have a question mark. What is that? Instead, I put x. So it's going to be 5 plus x over 8 is equal to 12 over 5. So 5 times 5 plus x is equal to, what's 12 times 5? What's 12 times 8? Somebody knows. What is it? One less. 96. Good. So 25 plus 5x. 96. What do I do? No, because you distribute to both. Minus 25. Minus 25. 5x is 71. Divide by 5. Divide by 5. And then x will be 14.2 actually. So it's this one, C. Okay? All right. So with that, let's get started on some homework.